Namaste, friends, and I hope all of you are doing well. Now, this is my third recording for this topic actually. I just had to cancel and do it again and again. Why? Is because the topic itself is convoluting, okay? Because I need to explain, first of all, why in Vedic astrology there isn't much prominence for Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Okay, that's number one. Second thing, I have to explain the great importance of these three grahas. Okay, and the third thing is how do you apply that in prediction. So when I talk about it, when I was doing recording earlier, I noticed that I sort of mix it up all together, and to actually convey the pure essence or to understand about this mysterious or not so prominent grahas, it can get confusing. So I'm trying to find the right way to express or to convey this beauty of these three grahas. Now, I'm going to give some key words here. Okay. Of course, this can be very lengthy. It can go hours and hours and hours. It can even maybe take a day to complete it. Trust me, this Vedic astrology is huge. Okay, they say it takes 7 lifetimes to complete. Uh, Sometimes I think it's far fetched, but then when you start to go into this when you start to practice or when you start to dwell into this Vedic astrology, you tend to notice that it's truly an ocean of knowledge. Okay, so the first keyword, dear friends, is impulse. Okay, first keyword, impulse. Impulse means the very need, the very strong natural need. Like hunger is an impulse. Okay, thirst is an impulse. You get the idea, right? It's a very strong natural need to have something. Okay, that's the first keyword. So I'm going to elaborate something on that keyword right now. Let's talk about Uranus first. Now, Uranus, what are its impulses, or rather, what is its impulse? That's the first thing that we need to look at. Uranus is the impulse of creation. Okay, so I'm going to take it very slow now. Uranus is the creation or the creative process. It is the fuel for creativity, for radical thinking, for innovation, for something new. Okay, now that is the impulse for Uranus. For Neptune is the impulse of understanding the deeper, profound meaning of things. So it has that impulse. Anything it does or anything it influences, it must come out. I mean, it will try to have this feeling or the need that, why is this in such a thing? Why is this in a very profound and a very huge way? Third is Pluto. Pluto's impulse is to teach us the true meaning of how can I put it? Let me think about it. Okay, Pluto's impulse is to show us truth. All right, finally I found the word. Is to show us what the real or the essence or the truth in things, in matters, both spiritually and also materialistically. Okay, so now we have the three impulses of these three distant grahas. First is Uranus. Uranus is about the impulse on creation, okay, on finding new things. Neptune is for understanding or it's more profound on what exactly, why is this thing in such a manner. And the third is to understand truth, which is true Pluto, the harsh reality of truth. Now let me extend that a little bit. So if you read some of the books, especially Bipin Bihari is one of my favorite authors. Now he talks about a lot of esoteric meanings behind this, and it's very cool. So I would suggest that you pick up a book on him. There's so many books. Mainly it's about esoteric, mainly the deeper essence of these grahas. And in fact, it's very important to understand these things, or else we will only have a superficial view of these grahas. So I would strongly suggest you get a book by Bapin Bihari or any other known astrologers out there. Um, now, yeah, as I was saying, I'm going to extend a little bit the understanding. So, if you look at Uranus, when I say its natural impulse or its natural need is to create, they associate this with Lord Brahma. All right, so we have the Hindu pantheon where Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva are the three murtis or the three great idols or great energies, I would say, that controls everything. All right, of course, if we talk in a very religious point of view or in a very deep theological point of view, it goes even further deeper to talk about the Nirguna Brahman and all that. We're not going to talk about that. Just to keep it within the context of Vedic astrology, these three murtis or these three gods, I would say, sort of manifest themselves. As you know, the nine grahas are the non-manifestive state or the I would say, it is the unborn form of Vishnu, by the way. But anyway, um, Uranus is the form of creation. As you all know, that Lord Brahma is involved in the creation process. Neptune is associated with Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is the preserver. And Pluto is associated with Lord Shiva, who is the destroyer. Now, how does it associate now? Uranus, Brahma. Uranus is straightforward. It's in the creative process, something new, something radical, that impulse. Of course, Brahma is the creator, so that makes sense. What about Neptune? Now, Neptune is associated with Lord Vishnu. See, the natural impulse of Neptune is to understand or to learn about things. But why do we learn about things? Essentially, when we learn about things, we would like to preserve it. We would like to sustain it and, in fact, grow upon that, isn't it? So, again, that's why Neptune is associated with Mahavishnu. And the third is Pluto. Uh, Pluto, as I mentioned, it shows us the truth, the reality. So it destroys our egocentric mentality. Our thought that this is what it has to be. There's nothing else to it. It's about crunching your ego, destroying your ego, and again, this destruction is associated with Lord Shiva. So now the impulses of these three grahas and also their associations with these three murtis. Okay. Um, okay, now that I've mentioned about this, I'm going to further elaborate. I hope you can follow me right until now, because I'm trying to think what is the best way to convey this message to you. Now, and why is this very important? All right. So now I'm going to give you a brief framework, as I mentioned, specifics just now on Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Now I'm going to put all these three together in a group and give a sort of a framework on what are their actual purposes now. Now, this I would call it the distant grahas. Okay, these distant grahas provides the fuel. Okay, for Rahu, Ketu, and Shani Bhagwan to do their job. Okay, now this is something that I've learned through my own experiences. You may not find this in any books, but there are some who talks about it. But based on my experience in Jyotisha, all these years, I come to understand this. Uranus has the qualities of Rahu. Okay, Rahu, as you know, it's all about moving forward, which is why Rahu is always associated with greed. Positive greed is very important in all of us. It ensures future. It ensures efficiency in creating new things. In the production of growth, isn't it? So Rahu is always being fueled by Uranus. So as I mentioned, Uranus itself is distant, and its only way is to connect with Rahu, okay, through its transferring process. It sort of transfers its energy to Rahu, and Rahu is the one that actually takes that energy and puts it on humans, right? So Rahu is like the vehicle, right? The actual impulse is from Uranus, right? So now you understand how important this Uranus is. Next is Neptune. Neptune's impulse is distributed, right, or emitted towards Ketu, because both has that personality. Ketu is all about inner learning, spirituality, to find the deeper meanings, right? Same thing goes to Neptune. Neptune's impulse is such. So now you know how Ketu gets his power from, all right? And the third is Pluto. Pluto goes to Shani Bhagwan. This can be controversial. Many would say no about this, but I mean, I've seen this again and again as a pattern when I work on charts. I notice that Shani Bhagawan his personality is very much from Pluto. Pluto has the same quality, is the truth. And what Shani Bhagawan does, he does to us, he's a karmic graha just like Rahu and Ketu. What Shani Bhagawan does to us, it shows us the crude or the raw reality of life, isn't it? It doesn't put things, okay, this is the truth, and it doesn't put on a silver platter. It gives us in a very difficult situation, so we will understand. Life is not easy. Truth is not easily obtained. We have to go through certain lessons of life. Pluto has the same personality. Remember, it destroys your ego, right? When we believe in something so much, right, and that belief gets totally destroyed, and when it's destroyed, only then we'll realize that aha moment that looks like there's something more than what we know. So what I feel, okay, based on my experience over the years, is that Pluto's impulses is directly contributed or emitted towards Shani Bhagwan. Okay, friends, there's three things now. You have the impulses, you have the associations with the three murtis, and you have the associations with Rahu, Ketu, and Shani Bhagawan. Of course, there's so many things else I would like to talk about. But before I end, let me just say that with this information, okay, how are you going to put it in your chart? How does a chart, or what does the chart shows you when you look at Pluto in your charts? What does it actually shows you, right? Now, for instance, let's say if you have Pluto, okay, in transit. Now, these things, these or these distant grahas, these grahas will show their potency, the power on transits. Okay, on transits, you'll notice that their power will be strengthened. All right, that's another long topic to talk about. But for the sake of teaching on how does it affect your chart, assuming that you have Pluto in say Kanya, okay, in the sign or the Rashi of Virgo, right? Now, Virgo's personality or characteristics, of the essence of Virgo, it's all about a hardship, a lot of materialistic endeavors, right? Business and all that. It really involves itself with the materialistic plane, okay, superficial level. And same time, it gets a little bit confused as it tries to find spirituality also. Naturally, Virgo people, although they're very successful in business and all that, but they always have this thing, is this what life is all about? That's a very general view. Of course, there's many things to talk about, but now, if Pluto is in Virgo, okay, that is the bhava, right? The house it resides. And let's assume that it's very close to maybe Venus. Okay, Pluto is in conjunction with Venus. And of course, we need to look at aspects and all that argalas to be even more specific. But let's just say that, Pluto is together with Venus, in conjunction with Venus. Let's not put drishti and all that together. And then it's in the house or in the bhava or in the Rashi of Kanya, maybe on the fourth bhava, for example. So we can sort of synthesize here on what most likely will happen, all right? So in this example, what we can see is that the fourth is the house of happiness, Shukha bhava, right? Now Kanya is the house of hardship, or rather hardworking, or rather, materialistic feelings. So So Sukha Bhava is happiness, and the Kanya is all about hardship. It's all about moving forward, a lot about earnings, right? A lot about business. So business is naturally something that this person is passionate about, right? That is the very basic way of synthesizing things, right? Of course, more things that we can talk about here. Now it's together with Venus. Now Venus also creates passion and love, right? And also the communion with another soul. So this person will have a very powerful way of doing his or her business, connecting to people, very tactful, very diplomatic. The way they convey the information to the other person is very beautifully done. So people will naturally get gravitated towards this person because of that Venus feature. Now, all this is nice and dandy, fine. However, the main guy here, Pluto is there, right? Now, Pluto, remember, it's all about destruction of your egocentric, or what about, your ego, right? What you really think that it is. It destroys that to teach us truth. So, what happens is in life for this person, in this example, is it will never give that satisfaction. The Sukha Bhava is fourth, the house of generally happiness, right? It doesn't give that contentment to say that, yes, I'm truly happy doing this business. Or something will happen, a few years down the road, everything is nice and dandy. All of a sudden, something will go wrong. Now, that all of a sudden is again connected to the transits of Pluto, right? But by birth, this person will have a lot of annoyances, a lot of frustrations. Some people even end up having anxiety or depression problems because of Pluto, because it teaches us the truth. Okay, so just one example, dear friends. It can go on and on and on. I just wanted to give you a very brief outline or framework on what are these actual grahas, these outer grahas or these distant grahas, and how they actually is important to assess. Okay. All right. Before I end, I would also like to add something else, that in order for you to find remedial measures, okay, for this outer grahas, just like Rahu and Ketu, right? Rahu and Ketu are directly opposite. They are on the same axis, isn't it? 7 houses apart. Just like that, these grahas, their aspects are also 7 houses apart. Of course, they have even specific drishtis, which I'm not going to talk about. Um, so, in order to appease, for the example of that Pluto and Kanya in the fourth house, for that example, you have to look at the actual opposite, or the seventh house from the fourth. Okay, and then once you appease that seventh house from the fourth, then balance and equilibrium is met. So remember, when we appease, or when we propitiate, or when we perform remedial measures on the opposite of these grahas, then there will be balance, and there will be naturally contentment and peace in life. Okay, so I'm going to stop here right now. I'm quite sure I've confused many, but anyway, thank you for tuning in. I hope to cover more in these videos. Namaste.